Hello, anime fans. Fast and going across worldwide. Okay, first off, in 2022, I went to go eat at TGI Fridays for my birthday, and then I went to go see BoJack Horseman with my girlfriend Marissa. And it all starts from a mirage of me having Dragon Ball Z on DVD said, "Hey, Uncle Tommy, we can hang out with Zero later. Literally, West Side Story, yes, Uncle Tommy, I know, literally, I beat you. Literally, back to the DVD. So this is me breaking down and explaining every generation, literally, and the title of this video is saying that I'm done with my training because I looked at how the universe started and how it unraveled, not ever since the dinosaur days before the early 2000s. And the early 2000s carried nuclear energy because what you see and what you observe and what you reflect on is very important. And what's vital to this video, literally, is somebody's first reaction versus somebody controlling your first reaction versus, your first reaction from a timeline. Because what you see enters the universe and then gets reciprocated. All start from classical outfits when you're going to school and people changing the color of their shoelaces to, becoming a bud and showing their dance moves on campus at least one time in order to get somebody hooked and addicted for somebody not to know the process. And here we go, the entire timeline of that ABC family, why everybody wanted to fit in school, all the way to my brother's generation where it came to Video Vixen, all the way to my generation where it came to DeviantArt, is all referencing my uncles and my auntie's generation where it came to West Side Story. The immaturity starts with your mom's generation for a reason. They were willing to join gangs but act like a nerd later. And what a gang teaches you how to do is it teaches you how to look at things in and out and in depth. Now how this ties into the video is somebody looking at, cartoon colors forever and comparing it to cell phones. Literally, like, I want to be the most popular kid in school is the exact reason why Mootrix is here to tell you that the popular kid never existed. It did exist in my mom's timeline, it did exist in my timeline. If you go look at Ginny and Georgia, that's the only way a popular kid can progress. Literally, in order to be a popular kid, you have to sell drugs, you have to be on drugs. And you have to realize that you get kicked out of school. It's the same reason why you get kicked out of school. Literally, when you sell drugs, is the exact same reason why a popular kid never existed. The mirage of a popular kid is what we aim for. The mirage of a popular kid is the exact topic of this video. So before I got to Alpha Omega, I gave, phenomenal speeches while inspiring many on YouTube. So first off, I'm gonna say Kanadi Asing, Kura Asing's sister, Kura died recently. He died due to the same criticism I had in high school and, with people not growing up. So I ended up giving, phenomenal speeches telling my mode to get more than one girl, that you have to be strong, you have to have strong will in this world, and that you can't always rely on your ego. And doing so, I knew exactly where I was at in the exact place and time in my life. This prevented me from ever being lectured, but not being lectured to a point where it matters because of the main fact that I know evolution can be a whole lot more, and I know this world definitely holds itself back and makes excuses like the 30-year-old virgin versus our smartphone. That's one of the biggest debates, literally. So my generation is in the middle of West Side Story and adapting to society, which is why I was the only one to be able to compare linear to construction, and linear is what they criticize at gang. I have an uncle who's linear and I have a best friend who's linear named James. Because they're two separate occupations. Somebody has to be bored, really, really bored, for an entire day like a victim of domestic violence, in order to figure this shit out because they're two separate. Now, those are simple things like your first reaction comparing linear to construction because you read linear doing construction. And construction is where a gang member ends up when it has too big of a criminal record to come back in society. They are two different occupations, never be crossed and never be intertwined. That's why this society is primitive. Like, how the fuck did we go to LG to smartphone to fucking COVID? Because humans couldn't find solutions. You know why? Humans are advanced in some ways and very primitive when it comes to others. How much you want to escape it, we have monkey DNA. And that monkey DNA stops you from making rational decisions. In order to, transform yourself and elevate yourself from the monkey DNA, you have to do things like drink water in order to think rationally. And such things like eating fast food, getting on a healthy diet is what really causes you to make inhuman decisions and forces you to submit to cannibalism to a certain extent. Literally. If it wasn't for things like school and TV, we would never feel, the pressure to be influenced by a positive background, and we would fall back on cannibalism. Even homeschool reveals that you can't go outside because your true intentions will be revealed. As much as a bookworm, as a soft Asian girl may be with glasses, literally, as soon as you see a hulking Smoking hot black guy running down the street wearing a perfect outfit, not mediocre outfit, a perfect outfit, still go out of his way to grab his dick. That's what we are without influence in society, but it's a good thing why society labels those things important. Even with establishment, the exact same reason why we do have lucky DNA is the exact same reason why humans are attracted to shiny things like, colorful clothing. That's with establishment. That means you could be a 4-year, college degree, teacher and student and still fall for somebody's outfit because your parents didn't expose you for a long time. Which means that you are picking a better straight in society and that you are, literally doing the right things, but you can still get caught off guard because why? Literally, you're made out of monkey. Now it's time for me to break down both gangs. They're both gangs that influence society, and society hasn't advanced through this gang. My friend, Andre Stallings literally has mom. I don't know if her name's Vanessa, but I was coming up on age, and I was fucking my other friend's mom. Literally, when I was bored, I was literally having conversations on the street, and she still said, "Hey, Eris," literally when I got done talking, literally to show me that literally I was an intellectual and that I wasn't crazy, even though the shit that they had me doing was definitely crazy. And I went into Papa Murphy's in order to reminisce about Big Mama's house, and she ended up being there, and she gave me a shrug look that eventually, I'm gonna be fucking a girl who's like over 50 years just like her, because over 50 recognizes that you have free and money, and you really make, poor decisions when you're 20, 21, when you could buy a car, you grab buy an outfit in order to impress your friends, because you didn't get the opportunity in high school. So the two gangs I'll be breaking down in this video is West Side Story and Seinfeld. Now West Side Story is a Crip and Seinfeld is a Blood. But they both play off the same formula. Go look at the season 1 and season 2 on my channel, where it shows that I'm a kid in 7th grade, 8th grade that doesn't know how to make a joke, but that's the whole angle of a gang, and that's where we go into being linear. What gangs do is they claim that you use a toothpick, where they use a toothpick to make a plan. So Seinfeld is Blood because they own apartments in society, but they don't make wise decisions. And West Side Story is a Crip because they go out of the way to protect their reputation. Literally, they crip all the time, they fight over time. Or, Seinfeld, pick and chooses which fights they have and make sure they get properly. You see, the whole difference between a Crip and a Blood is, a Blood knows he's wrong, but goes with it anyway. It gets exposed to life, and a Crip is trying to figure out life while he's already being hard. And in West Side Story, literally, they teach you how to do the Crip walk, around first thing. I don't know specifically, but they teach you how to be, outstandingly active, have, grands of fucking style in one line, literally. And then Seinfeld, what it is you learn from the other person's mistake. He did all that charisma and he did get his own apartment. Literally, you got your own apartment and you still can't tell a joke. And that's the whole thing when we get into Andre's mom. My Andre's mom's sister generation, literally, she can fall for Elliot. She can fall for a Courtney or two. And the reason why I had to break down both gangs is the exact same reason why Ray's, generation with Olivia, because Ray grew up in the Lil Jon generation. That's why I respect him. So they were when a nightclub wasn't, fully publicized. It wasn't, fully flourished. Like, in order to get into a nightclub, you have to be a banker, a real estate agent, girls really cover up their legs. So the whole idea of MTV, hanging out with your best friends, drinking, alcohol wasn't really the idea. The idea was the lady would already be holding a drink and the guy would have a very soft approach, and then they would take slow and steady steps in order to gain a relationship. On top of having big occupations, no such thing as, a gang member going to a club and just, grinding on a girl, without receiving, certain consequences. That means literally, if they were successful for, successfully grinding with a girl in a nightclub, they receive, consequences afterwards, like a gang member would enter their house. Which is why all those things accumulate to why nobody can be their popular kid on TV. And that big, welfare establishment is why I went to Seinfeld. Why I understand Seinfeld, but why it has the disadvantage of the Crips. So West Side Story is how you fit in, and Seinfeld is there eventually where you want to be, because you eventually want to be your own apartment. You don't want your parents, forever making fun of you. So what we do, and what we ended up as society, we ended up living in a mirage, literally, where something could become, before or after, a certain event, just like My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia could be before or after, literally, it's an echo, literally, and I call society out for being lazy. Like, it's only an echo because you won't do nothing. That's why I'm able to compare myself to every generation instead of every generation being separate. So what ended up happening to my brother's generation? First off, Ray's generation is the only generation that is mature, because they learned from our uncles, mistake about, not being able to adapt to technology. So they eventually got their own apartments after betrayal. So what Ray had to do is Ray had to let go of the entire Bloodgate where he tried to get with Olivia, because he recognized that those people were doing the exact same thing and that he was trying to move on and make a statement. So unlike Chris, literally, he recognized why, a girl is important. Going out of your way to get the pussy is important, but a girl is really important because it shows that you have approval for another, human body outside your own, which means that you're not self-loathing. You didn't fool yourself, and they're also important because you need to have children. That's your main purpose in life, is to pass on your seed. So, what Ray did is he did this, pass on his seed. He recognized beforehand that, women were important and that his friends can make fun of anything about a woman at will and compare him to a duck. So unlike Chris's generation, they didn't just stay with the stereotype, Mambo, get one girl in a car, gone, kidnapping another, literally even recognize that cause and effect and comparing it to an autistic kid. Literally, what Ray did was he recognized that, this autistic kid might be better than me if I don't do shit. So he was able to make a status due to his generation letting go of the past, letting go of childish shit. And my generation couldn't have the same revelation because Chris' generation raised us. If you don't know who Chris is, go check out Anti-Brother Itachi on my channel. Go check out every single video on the Itachi playlist. Literally, he goes video fiction and he goes in depth. Like, why won't you bouncing a basketball when you're young? Literally, they have a whole bunch of health benefits. You're always doing something active, but it's still in the form of a mind of an immature kid. That's when my brother's generation left. So, my brother's generation ended up making fun of girls first thing, and then, having cars that broke down until 30. And gaining cause and effect, but not gaining no girlfriend, because they kept on comparing themselves to an autistic person. They had everything that they had, but respect. So my brother's generation was like, whatever, literally, my parents are full of shit, I'm full of shit, literally, I'm doing everything I can because I recognize the other person is standing still, and that's why they can't get themselves out of the rods. That's why, they have trouble accepting reality. My generation, would accept reality, literally, if you put it in front of them. So guess what happened in my generation since my brother's generation could properly guide them? They got kicked out of school, got kicked out of night school, and got preferred by their parents because they came out of the situation with more swagger, literally. And my generation was like, what's the whole point of swagger? So we live in the abusive older brother generation that falls back on sports, where our mothers and everybody else call us selfish for not wanting to adapt to compare cartoon colors of sports and their reactions like this. The reason why literally you don't like people who play sports is because they're not perfect like your person's cartoon. Well, what if you want to start fucking in junior high, buddy? Literally, what if I tell you it's too late and then you start to get violent? Which is heavy neglect of a parent if you do your research. So how you fix that problem is you have to give the kid more than one option. Literally, instead of making, roll with one option, like my mom put me in Boy Scouts, and Boy Scouts need to be made fun of. They typically make fun of Boy Scouts 9 times out of 10. Literally, so what you have to do is you have to recognize, if you want people to play sports, you force them to play basketball. You put them out on the court, literally. You don't let them go inside until they play basketball. That's how you raise a kid correctly. The whole point of the video is we do better if you introduced us in a nice fashion. Literally, what they do is they let things pile up and then they come at us for a smart alecky fashion. And then they claim that we're violent because if me and him did the same thing, I'll get to 1-2 faster. That's because my brother's generation goes on in closing a statement instead of actually getting shit done. You can enclose a statement all you want. The goal is to get the basket through the hoop. The goal is to get the soccer ball through the goalie. What ended up happening was my brother's generation got their ass kicked by every single one of my generations who was deviants, and my generation came with no cause and effect. So what ends up happening, if you're not deviant or offend, if you're not, autistic growing up, what you are is you're a person in regular ed who's confused, who's just rolling with the flow. Don't you think, the reason why you're rolling to the flow, that other people, autistic people who applied rap, literally got to be a celebrity, got to bang tons of women, and now you're stuck with an ordinary wife, literally, but now you don't have the tools in high school saying that, you have a superficial woman is immature, and now you're stuck in the real world, and your dick is getting harder and harder every day, your hormones are growing larger and larger every day. So the whole point of this video is to let you know that one generation let the other generation stranded, and that one generation has its own opinion. And so guess what happened for my uncle and the West Side Story generation? They never learned from their generation. Because they were doing active traits, get the girl, get the woman in general, because they recognized that they needed to go to breed, and my generation has yet to have their drive and effort where it comes to getting women, and women are important. So what ends up happening is the mirage of My Hero Academia, he literally sets, anime to be the default. Like, Like, it was horrible. People started buying, their anime clothes on Hot Topic. People started buying the Hunter x Hunter, clothes on Hot Topic. And anime did come to the fault. Now, how that happened was, I put a lot of people on the anime by dressing up as the characters at the conventions. And I used to pull tons of women. I used to grab ass and I used to get numbers. But aside from that, I was really good at playing a sport. Like, I got gym membership so I can get a six-pack specifically so I can cosplay as a Dragon Ball Z character. Ooh, it was more of a sport to me than anything. And that gym membership went hand in hand in my development. So from the gym membership, I wanted to go play Yu-Gi-Oh! Literally, so does not look like a hobby on TV. I'm the only human, literally, in this world and in this generation, literally, that was able to have an actual hobby on TV. Which hence we have, why we have the Mirage of Nons, why we have Nokia, why we have, so many things that are epic foreshadowing forward because nobody put a dent in society. It could have happened before and after, but nobody did shit to make a difference. So people follow me instead of regulating laws, instead of regulating things, and literally, so they do be a shoulder to Hiroki, so I got to reflect on things like, every time there's a new season of My Hero, I always cosplay as that character, and I still, are respected for the performance to this day. What happened is they tried to label me a predator when this girl arm was around me doing the profile pic. And plus, I faced it head on by making sure I posted my lineup on Instagram and go to the exact same convention in the exact same location. So the security guard could pull me over at any moment, but he let me in for over 24 hours, let me get multiple numbers, and that goes hand in hand with the gym membership and the laws of the universe. Because I put in the work beforehand, because I practiced how to do a backflip into Hiroki beforehand, is why you couldn't label me a predator. And plus, several girls warned them beforehand, so I let them know I'm putting my whole lineup there before I go to Crunchyroll at the exact same location in San Jose, and they let me in for multiple hours at end, literally. So you're all like, the security guard pulled you over several times after, letting you in for 24 hours and after letting you get numbers, and then he aligned with you, and then he tried to switch up, literally. So nobody, if I, have been doing research for the past few years, nobody has had a revelation like that, where they had such an edge in their uncle, where they had a gym membership and had an organized game like Yu-Gi-Oh! To play. So in doing so, after 2 years of protection, I ended up becoming the new Lil Wayne in the radio, but recognizing what my generation needed, and my brother's generation made the same excuse until I brought most of them to Foundation Studio. So I back this up, I beat people like Alberto in our versus battle, where we take cartoon episodes and then enclose openings. So go look at my Cali Cash, video, Not Enough on my channel. Go look up Mood Tricks, Not Enough on my channel, and you recognize, what it is. I schooled Alberto saying that literally, you're afraid to get a girl because of disability when this girl took me on a journey. I beat GOM, I beat Country, I beat your presence via eviction, but I didn't get respect. So when you let things pile up, all day, that's exactly why, we got stuck in Mirage, and that's why I knew where I was at, so I didn't feel sorry for people when I got here. Along with this speech is why I'm knocking Manny Mo on the head for trying to say get more than one girl, is why I ended up getting 2 girls I couldn't in high school, but I could get as an adult due to being more mature and odds of growing up. Literally, I'm twice as tall now, I'm twice as thick, and literally, I'm twice as handsome and beautiful. I have a six-pack from going to the gym, and I recognize literally somebody has to do something instead of being nothing, which is why I became Lil Wayne on the radio. So I ended up rimming those 2 girls from that 70s show, literally up in my room, literally before I got here. That's why I felt no remorse and no nothing, and literally, and that's why I do have a moon base in the sky, and that's why I am adapting, because that's the whole point of being an adult, doing everything while a child does nothing. So like I said, literally, my brother's generation literally is keen where it comes to assertiveness, but not where it comes to assertiveness of things that actually matter. They're assertiveness where it comes to protecting their reputation, but my generation isn't assertive at all. So my thing literally why I get to play basketball later, where I'm not under pressure in society, is the exact same reason why I became a little bit of both. I became passive first, passive aggressive, and then assertive. So that's why I was figuring out the timeline. So, literally, it was the end of the world, literally, when I got here, literally. And when I kept on, staying at Alpha and Omega through multiple days, literally, they said the world is still ended, literally. So, they kept the same shit in the air. They kept, shows of defeat of purpose in the air, like Teen Titans Go and Gumball and shit, literally. And I recognize what I did for my generation. That's why I can never be immature. And that's why I can never feel immature. Pardon my uncle's French. So the whole point of this video is letting you know that we partially, I repeat, partially live in a mirage due to society not being able to push forward and, making excuses for other classes of society, like my friend Andre. Literally, he's a full-on nerd who hides behind Mario and video game, which is full disability, while I am partial disability. My disability can't come back if it's considered other people. So what I do is I took advantage of the fact that I had a disability in the past, literally, and I used the money from disability to get a gym membership. Literally, I had multiple jobs for Safeway, all the way to a point, where I can catch people in biased environments. Even if there is something on my criminal record, you allow people to get hired with gun charges and stuff. It's only because they hit all the way rock bottom. Literally, I should be falling under the sea, or how handsome I am. That's called double implying. And the more you double imply, the more of an adult you are. If somebody ignores you double implying, they ended up balling themselves up 9 times out of 10 because they're ignoring aspects of that situation that are critical. They're claiming that they're not, viewing the bigger aspect of the situation where they already viewed the whole situation and made a decision. And they made a decision because they're confident. And you have to recognize when they're confident. Now, if they call you a loony, a loony bin for saying that you shouldn't be confident, or confidence is the key to getting a woman. And confidence comes with practice. And confidence is heavily connected to assertiveness. So Kua died due to Malibu's understanding, Andre's, understanding where it comes to things being straightforward. So, what I figured out is, we're in the middle of Futurama right now, literally. What happened is COVID was a temporary state in the United States that still hasn't, gone off yet, where people can't go outside. So I'm supposed to be insecure about my status in life, where you make sure there's a filter where people can't go outside. And that shit literally led me to thinking about Lego models instead of the decision that got me, put into Alpha Omega. I started viewing myself as my dad, and when my dad gets in trouble, when my dad goes to jail, literally because how out of place this shit is. There's no reason to have discipline when there's absolutely nothing to look forward to. In other words, they made my comic book look like shit, ignored everything, and kept the same fucking shows on the air. So in conclusion, they kept on making excuses, literally, for my generation, so technology would not advance, therefore school couldn't advance, literally. So when it comes to double applying, when it comes to everything, in order to, have the properly kids successfully done, go look at both seasons of Ginny and Georgia and recognize how, Georgia put her kid in school, literally, and how, Georgia keeps on rolling over the fact that, she looks better than Jenny, but keeps on supporting Jenny every single way. How they keep their kids intertwined with school activities like school plays, like how this guy looks like Lucifer, from A Devil Is a Part-Timer, Jenny's boyfriend, literally, or Jenny's ex-boyfriend, I haven't finished this series yet, looks just like Lucifer from Devil Is a Part-Timer. So this is how these generations came to be. It came from my, brother stopping, from making babies and, specifically relying on a style that encloses statements instead of actually getting critical, literally, and Ray's generation, being put up with literally included statements and never being able to mate and never being able to have a baby with a woman. To my generation, not caring if either happens, but recognizing they have a roof over our head, but we need to have more testosterone. You see, my generation is made out of plastic and paper mache because everybody just goes with the flow instead of do something critical. Is the exact same reason why I was the one who recognized that everything was sell is why I became Lil Wayne the Radio again. So with that position, literally came 2 girls that rejected me in high school, literally, with ashes on my face looking just like that 70s show, because that's how mature I was at the time. Literally, so they tried to pretend that me literally hitting Maggie Mo, me literally fucking advertising that Kua died and telling her that she had to be serious in my life, that you need to take what people say more seriously, literally out the dump. So I started laughing as soon as I got to Alpha Omega, which isn't cool, because that's a serious principle. And because you didn't follow principle all the way into a point of a primate is why you took school out. And that's why my generation literally has the least potential, where its potential yet to be unlocked. We could have been doubling pine like Ray's generation, literally. We could have had cars and flying cars, but you made the excuse that humans can cooperate by allowing humans to roll by this thing that you're over here and I'm over there. Well, if that's the case, then you can't be making statements like, yo, we've been playing basketball, we've been trying to socialize ever since we've been 3 years old. You can't get away with making those statements if you let society stay the same. Literally. So we went for a smartphone, LG, and then now we can't go outside. So literally society just stopped. So that is how you break down each and every generation.